Welcome back, guys. Okay, today we'll do lecture 4, audit materiality. Now, this is a very, very important concept. Okay, and a lot of questions are asked in interview on audit materiality, and cross questions are also asked in an interview. This is a very important topic, and generally, students and CA freshers or even article, whoever is giving, they will give bookish answers to these questions. And what we have seen, okay, even in the CA firms, okay, materiality is not really sampling and materiality is not done. So please see this video properly, and this is very important. Okay, let's come to the main stage. Okay. So yeah, materiality. So far we have discussed on the planning stage, completion, execution. If you have seen my videos, okay. Now we'll do the materiality part. Okay. Now why do we calculate materiality? That is very important. Okay. Materiality, we cannot check everything. Due to time and cost constraint, that's why we calculate materiality. If they ask you, you should be saying this. Okay. Now materiality is basically you don't check everything. You check only the material or items only in an audit. Okay. And this is only done in the Big 4 organizations where materiality is heavily tested. Okay. Now, there are three levels of materiality. One is your overall materiality, performance materiality, or tolerable error, and clearly trivial threshold. Okay. So they can ask you what are the three different levels of materiality. Now, questions that can be asked, okay, which you should be very well prepared. Okay. I'll be discussing that different levels of materiality. We'll discuss everything. By the end of the course, I think you will not left with anything else. Okay, you will be able to crack your interview very well. Okay, if you not done articles from grade form, don't worry, you will be doing very well. If I'll make sure that different levels of materiality. Okay, what are the why do we calculate materiality? What are the different levels of materiality? Factors which determine benchmark. Now, materiality is based on benchmark, so that is very important. They can be asked, okay? And then there can be questions on what is performance materiality. This is highly asked, okay? So please pay attention and do this video properly, okay? What is overall? First of all, calculate the overall materiality or the planning materiality. Now, this materiality is the most important. Now, this is based on a benchmark that is set, okay? Now, benchmark can be anything. It can be dependent on the nature of the business, okay? Nature of business, the risks of material business, past and visual transaction, auditor judgment, it will be. Auditor judgments, okay, whatever it is. So it is based on this, okay. Now, benchmark can be turnover, net profit, total assets. If it is turnover, then it is 2 to 5% revenue. It's not high. If it's net profit, 5 to 10% of profit. Overall materiality is generally at the planning stage of an audit procedure. Okay. Now, I'm giving you an example. Okay. For example, if it is a FMCG company. So we can take revenue, right? We can take profit also, right? Because the profit also as a benchmark. Okay. So what are the factors? The question that is coming, okay. The question that is this one, this was the question of what are the factors that determine the benchmark, right? This is the question. How the benchmark is determined. It depends on the nature of business, basically. Okay. It depends on the nature of business. You have to understand the nature of business. This is the best important thing. So it depends on the nature of business that it is done very well. So if it is a nature of business or risk and all, if happens, for example, it is a startup company. If it is a startup, then there will be no profit, then you can take revenue. Okay. If it's a banking sectors, okay, then they take the loans and advances. If it is a steel industry, then they can take the capital expenditure. Steel industry, capital expenditure. I think you are getting it, huh? Then if it is a mutual fund, then asset under management, AMC, asset under management, they check. Okay, so you have to check this way. The factor will determine nature of business and a lot of things. We'll discuss more later, but this is the way overall materiality is done. If it is revenue, 2 to 5%. Now, second question that asks is performance materiality, avoid misspelling or tolerable error, it is said. Overall materiality is called planning materiality also. Now, this is in Hindi say send karne ki shakti, okay. Now, when we already have a this PM overall materiality, why do we calculate performance materiality? And this is the question that is asked. Why do we calculate performance materiality? Now, what is performance materiality? And second question that is asked, why we calculate performance materiality? Okay, so this is very important. Now, what is performance materiality? This is generally 50 to 75% of the overall materiality. These are not hard work range, but this is generally this. Okay. Now, this is very important. Now, this is a haircut to the overall materiality. Haircut means how much haircut we need. Okay. And this is 50 to 75% of the overall materiality. We calculate PM or TE to be on a safer side, so that we don't wait for the overall materiality level to breach in order to inform the management about the uncorrected statement. Now, I'll help you with an example so that you understand this. Excuse me. Excuse me. No? So I am giving an example, okay, out here. For example, okay, the revenue of the company is 100 crores and the OM, overall materiality, is, let's suppose we're taking on the basis of a 5, let's see, we're taking a 5% of the revenue to be on safer side. That comes to about 5 crores. Okay. Okay. Now, what is PM? T, what is PMT, whatever you call it, PM T, performance materiality. Now, this will be around 50 to 75%. So, let's say it is around 3.5 crores, 70%. Now, why do we calculate this? Now, question is, why do we calculate this? Okay. Now, let's say the date of audit report is there. Okay. Date of auditor report. Let's say I'm making this video on 2nd July. Okay. Let's the audit report is 2nd July 2023. Now, if the misstatement, total misstatement is, if the misstatements, the total uncorrected misstatements, okay, as on the audit report date, as an audit date, report date, if it is below, for example, if it is below your what, your overall materiality, then it is good. Okay. For example, it's certainly okay. On the audit report date, we suppose the misstatement was below 4 crore only. But just on the audit report date, 2nd July, the misstatements, overall misstatements crosses 5 crores and it becomes 6 crores. Okay. आपका जो misstatements है वो audit report date का दिन suddenly cross हो गया. It suddenly crosses your 5 crore limit. Okay. Now this is what. So you will not ask now if the auditor now will tell the management to correct the misstatement, then the client will feel harassment, right? On the last date they are saying me to do this, and that is why we don't wait for the overall materiality level to wait. We don't wait for the overall materiality level to breach. We keep a buffer zone for us as a performance materiality. So the moment it crosses our performance materiality, the auditor will ask the management to make the misstatements, to correct the misstatements. Okay, so we keep a buffer to be on a safer side, to be on a haircut. That's why it's a haircut. We take a haircut to the overall materiality to be on a safer side. We will not wait for the, that's why I written, we calculate PMTA to be on a safer side, so that we don't have to wait for the overall materiality level to breach in order to inform the management of our uncorrected misstatement. We will not wait for the overall materiality level to breach in order to inform the management about the uncorrected misstatement. हम लोग ओवरऑल मेटर्निटी लेवल का ब्रीच नहीं करेगा, इससे क्या होता है, अदरवाइज द क्लाइंट विल फील हैरेस्ड. कैन राइट आउट हियर आल्सो, अदरवाइज द क्लाइंट will feel harassed, right, and troubled. If we, they will feel troubled, okay, if we tell them on audit report date on basis of overall materiality, and don't have a performance materiality. So we keep a buffer zone. Again, that is what is mentioned out here. So that the uncorrected misstatement goes above the PMT. That's why. Okay. So that's why this is very important. A question that is come that incorrect misstatement, the moment it goes above this, we'll ask them to rectify. And if they don't, then we issue the qualified opinion or adverse opinion. Okay. So or adverse opinion. This is very important. Or adverse opinion. Okay. So this is the stage where we do it. Okay. This is the materiality level. The moment it reaches audit, it starts performing. So this is the area where we start performing. इसलिए नाम है performance materiality or tolerable error. Okay. The moment it reaches, we will start performing. We'll take care. If it is below PM, we have already did this earlier. If it is below PM, what we will do? This is something that you will be going here. We have discussed this. If it is below PM, what we will do? If the misstatement is below PM, then we do nothing. Yes, we will tell them to do rectification. If they don't, we don't pass the audit or qualified or adverse opinion. There's a conflict in management auditor. We'll ask the management to mention this in MRL in summary of uncorrected mistakes. If we have told them to make the statement, they are not doing it. So this is summary of uncorrected misstatement. Okay, but they are not material enough. So we will say this. Okay. But if it is above a PM, then we'll ask them correct. If they don't, they pass the adverse opinion. As simple as that. So you understood the concept of this. The moment it crosses, we have to pass the adverse opinion if they don't correct it. And why do we calculate performance materiality? So we have already overall materiality because otherwise the client will feel troubled if they tell them on audit on the basis of overall materiality and don't have this. I hope this is very much clear. Okay. And we have already discussed how the factors which determine the benchmark. Auditor is on the benchmark. So now FMC is company revenue, startup, this. Good. I hope you have understood. Then there is a call clearly trivial threshold, AMPT, adjust clearly trivial threshold, another name AMPT, adjusted misstatement posting threshold. For example, like now adjusted misstatement posting threshold. Now 1 crore sales. Now, for example, why we keep this clearly table so that what it is a clearly table threshold or AMPT adjusted misstatement posting threshold. Okay. Generally, this is 1-2% of turnover or 5% of turnover. What is the logic behind keeping this? Why we keep generally this is not asked too much in interview. Why we keep CTT when we have already OM and PM? This is the materiality level. This is materiality level below which we can ignore transactions, misstatements. We can ignore the misstatements. Name is clearly trivial, not significant. Trivial means understand the meaning only. The meaning lies everything. Trivial means what? Trivial means not significant. Okay. So this is something you should know. 0.15% of the work. Now, questions can be asked more on this. Okay. Hold on. Now, for example, sometimes what happens, I told you earlier, okay, then when the misstatement is above PM, we will ask the management to make the misstatement. If they do not correct the misstatement, we will do the qualified opinion. Okay. Sometimes what happens, there is a materiality, it can be above, like, it is above PM. See, the account is not significant. Sometimes there's a lot of variances, okay. When you do the analytical procedures, analytical review you're doing, so there might be a lot of variances. So still the account is not significant when there is no movement in account balances during the previous year and the current year, like share capital or PPE in the case of the service sector. Okay. So there can be no movement in the account balances. Hence the share capital, there is no movement. If there is no movement, then we will that the account is not significant, though the amount is very material. Okay. Means in the share capital case, the amount is very material, crores of amount are there. But there is no movement in the current year and the previous year. So because there is no movement in the current year and previous year in the share capital, or means if the service sector and in the service sector like Infosys, okay, PP is there. So that is not a material significant account. So we can, even if it is above, we feel that it is above our PM level, then also we don't do anything out here. Sometimes it is below PM, below performance materiality, still account is very significant. Okay, uh, this is an exception that can be asked, like legal expenses, revenue cash bank, contingent liability, statutory dues. They are not there is a default in stat dues. Okay, Caro compliances, default in the default in Caro compliance or schedule 3 disclosures. Okay. So if this is the case, okay, then if there's something like that, okay, there's a mistake, okay, we will be, even if it is below PM, still account is significant, and we can write a adverse or qualified opinion we can give. So again, this question can be asked. Another question can be asked on the audit risk, revenue risk, and management override of control. I hope you are getting a lot of value from the course, and thank you so much till then. Okay. And we have already discussed everything, and let's hope you have learned a lot on this, and we will be discussing later on another topics. Thank you.